So now, by the time of the Hawkins case, the Littman, Roz and Dave Littman's law firm has gotten to be a fair bit bigger.
Yeah.
How did you have the wherewithal for it to expand, and when did it expand?
The wherewithal came at the end of each year. We'd go on a settling cases binge and prepare brochures on cases. We learned that in one of the organizations that taught you how to handle cases, settle cases. And we had a very good relationship with the insurance adjusters and the lawyers on the other side who handled these cases, who knew that if we said we were going to get them some material or there was something in existence, that they could rely on us. And we prepared them very, very thoroughly. And so at the end of the year, we were usually flush uh, to go on for the next year. By that I mean, when you try personal injury cases, they're tried on a contingent basis, not on an hourly basis, and so you have to settle the case before you get any money, which we learned to do. But then, not only did we take on the antitrust case, but there were other kinds of cases. Daddy became the most prominent liquor lawyer in Pennsylvania, maybe even in the country. He with great pride, represented all of the national chains that needed to get liquor licenses in Pennsylvania, because Pennsylvania has these arcane liquor laws. But our first such client was Pizza Hut, and Daddy loved Pizza Hut. Everywhere we'd go, we'd be driving in Pennsylvania, and he'd say, "Oh, this is Bucks County. That's a Pizza Hut. This is such and such county. There's the Pizza Hut," and it branched out to other states. And he was dealing with lawyers from big companies like that all the time, and they had other kinds of problems, and we sometimes handled those. If the Marriott, for example, had a case involving something where an administrative agency was giving them problems, we would commonly handle that. And I was the lawyer who handled those cases.
And although other lawyers then you brought into the firm, were they mainly to support your and Dad's work, or did they do their
Yes.
own kind of thing?
No, it was mainly to support Dad's and my work. Dad took on first another young lawyer. Dad developed the liquor practice into something nobody had ever done. We not only had an office here in Allegheny County, he opened an office in Harrisburg, where the liquor board is situated, so that if we wanted something filed that day, all we had to do was get our paralegal, who was based there, to walk over to the liquor law office, the liquor board's offices, and walk the documents through instead of taking 3 weeks to go through normal processes. He did that and made it very efficient. Dad was extremely efficient. He was a clean desker. His desk was clean every night when he went home, and he returned every phone call that same day.
I don't think I inherited that gene.
When we were in practice for about a month, that office that we went back to, that had changed from S. David Littman to Littman and Littman. I might have been the first Littman and Littman, but that didn't mean I had my own office. I had a desk. Daddy had a big desk in a rather large office, and I had a desk over on the side. It was, you'll see the shape of my desk now is still the same. It's like a half moon. That's not quite the right word, but that was the shape. That was my desk, and so I sat there over there and I worked, and Dad sat at the big desk and worked. And after we'd been in practice about a month, he said, "You're going to have to change the way you handle your cases." Why? Me? Why am I? You're going to tell me, if I ask you for papers, that you know where they are on your desk, but you don't know where they are. Your desk is filled with papers. It's not organized. You can't do that. You're going to lose something important. You're going to forget a date, and you can't do that. You have to be on top of every single thing. His desk, of course, was clean. Of course, I said the reason for that was anything he didn't know what to do with. On the top, he'd write, "Give Roz." So I had a lot of Give Roz's on my desk, but I did learn to be more organized and better prepared with filing things.
So when did Littman and Littman become Littman Harrison Specter, or Littman Harrison Specter and Portnoy? And
well, Steve Harris came to us early on, and I'm not sure how Daddy met him. He was a lovely young man, and he had his family here were in the flowers business, and he went to law school. He became a lawyer, and he met Daddy somewhere. I'm not sure where. And Daddy said he thought we had enough business that we should get another lawyer in the firm. And so we did. We invited Steve to join us. And he had some clients. He was Greek, and I think he represented the whole Greek population at that time in Pittsburgh. And then after Steve, well, for a while there, we also had Cyril Wecht in our firm. Cyril, who had gotten his medical degree before he went to law school, was in my class in evidence, and we got to know him. And he was with our firm for a while, but he wound up being more on the medical side than on the law side. But it never got bigger than 4.
Well, but the firm itself was...
The names.
The names never got bigger than 4, but there were certainly more than 4.
Yeah.
By the time you were over at the Grant Building, you had a whole floor, did you not?
A whole floor, but we rented out 2 of the rooms.
Okay. And then eventually you moved over to One Oxford Center. There's a great picture over there. And you're moving a lion across the street.
You want the backstory?
Yeah, I want the backstory, including what the lion is.
Daddy had a client who kept a boat in Chesapeake Bay. Daddy loved boats. I mean, it could be a ferry boat, and he'd get on it. He loved ships, loved boats. And this client would invite us once a year to Annapolis to join him. That's where he kept his boat. He had a small yacht. Small, but it slept maybe 5 people. And we used to go visit and go around the different stops on a weekend. And this one weekend we got there on a Friday. We stayed at a place where downstairs there was a shop. And the shop had all of these figures that you see that have to do with ships, salty things. Like one thing that he had that was very prominent. You know, on the masthead of a boat, commonly you'll see a figure on the front of the ship coming like this with some kind of head or something. He had a lot of those, and people used to buy things there. And I went in just wandering around, and all of a sudden I saw this mangy lion who hadn't anything to do with boats as far as I could see. So I began to talk to the man, the owner of this place, about where to get the lion and so forth. Well, he got him in Belgium. He was a mold for something or other. And I said, well, what's he got to do with boats? Well, he doesn't have anything to do with boats, but I liked him a lot. And I said, gee, I like him a lot too. And that was that, and we went out on our trip. When we came back, we stopped for breakfast, and I said to Daddy, I have to run an errand. I'll be back shortly. I went back to the shop, and I said to the guy, is the lion still here? And he said, yes. And I said, well, I think I'd like to buy him. And he said, what are you going to do with him? I said, I'm going to put him in my office. He said, what are you, a PR firm? And I said, no, we're a lion and tiger firm. I'm going to put him in my law firm office. I like him. And so we bought him, and he shipped him, and he's gone with us ever since. My associates at that time had a contest as to what they should name him. And one day I came into the office, and there appeared above him. He was in the room where we would make our own coffee and have lunch if we wanted to. And here was this poem on there, and unfortunately the poem got lost, but they wound up with the name for him being my initials in the firm, Rosalind Littman, were Rosalind M. Littman, and I'd sign things RML, 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 and the name for him was RML, Roz's Mangy Lion. So he's just followed me ever since.